Welcome to MovieFilm. It's episode 346. I'm Zachy Hassan. I'm here with Brian Hall.
Hey, how's it going, Zachy?
Hey, man.
How you doing?
I'm hanging in there, you know?
Since our last record, we have hung out together in person.
I was thinking, like exactly a week ago as we were recording this, you and I were, we were walking out of Toy Story 5.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's a conversation we've had to put on pause for a little while. We'll get to that later in the episode.
Yeah, but that was a lot of fun. Getting to see stuff together, and our good pal Sean was with us, and getting to talk about all this stuff in person.
Yeah, I think what I realize every time we get to hang out, whether it's you and I or our sort of extended group of friends, is like, we're just doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we, you know what I mean? Whether a mic is present or not, we're just doing this.
It is kind of funny. It does happen. And it's funny when you and I get together, we've been at coffee or dinner or something and had someone join us. And then they sort of step back a little bit and say something like, wow, it's like I'm watching the show. Like we just have the rhythm, like we slip into the rhythm and sort of, go back and forth. And yeah,
it is nice. We got to have some Chicago style deep dish.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Which I'm all about. As I'm sitting here talking to you about it, I'm like, I could use some more of that.
Oh man, and that soft serve. What was that place called?
Yes, Meadowlark Dairy.
Oh, I was telling a lot of people about it because I always prefer ice cream, regular ice cream over soft serve, but soft serve is good. But this one, it was just something about the texture and the flavors were really fresh, and it's very good.
There you go, free unpaid advertising from Meadowlark.
yeah.
Have you seen anything other than what we're going to be talking about since the last time I saw you?
Between visiting you and a friend of mine is visiting from out of town right now, I haven't seen a ton of things. You and I rewatched Masters of the Universe.
Yes, we did.
Together with Sean, because Sean hadn't seen it yet, and that was a lot of fun.
That was number 4 for me.
Wow. Yeah, that was number 2 for me. Well, how did it play for you? I mean, I don't know. Is it like sort of feel like a comforty food thing at this point, or do you start noticing things you like less about it? The more you watch it, or do you like it more? What's the?
I think comfort food is kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
It feels like as we're recording this may well be its last week in theaters. I've seen a lot of people post on social media like, yeah, I just had a private screening of Masters of the Universe. I didn't book the private theater. It's just I was the only one there.
Right.
So I feel like we're there, and I've been tempted. I'm like, do I want to see it maybe one more time? Do I want to make it 5?
Uh-huh.
So that tells you something.
Yeah. Well, what was kind of funny was when Sean and I drove up together.
Okay.
And he had not seen Disclosure Day yet.
That's right.
And so we never really got around to it. And just like you and I in the show, with Sean and some of our other friends, we don't always like to tip our hand with our feelings about movies because we want them to go in fresh and develop their own feelings first, and then we can talk about it. So we hadn't really told Sean what we thought about it. But then when he realized we weren't going to watch it, we were at dinner, right, with our friend Parvez, and he was a little like, all right, just tell me, what'd you guys think? Just no spoilers. And it was funny because you're like, well, and then you kind of said something, and it came to me, and I was like, here's the thing. And then I kind of went into my thing, and I think Parvez even did like a.
He joined us late, which made it extra fun.
Oh, that was what was funny. Yeah, because he joined us later, and then we asked his opinion, and he did the same pause.
Yeah, that's
before he got into his feelings about it. So Sean was like, "All right, I got it."
And we'll talk a little more about Disclosure Day later in this episode.
Oh, great. But what I did catch was, I've been talking about it every week. Widow's Bay wrapped up. And I also saw that it is renewed for season 2. So I am thrilled about that. And I'm happy to say that I thought season 1 ended just as strong as it has ever been. And I got to say, I've had a number of people reach out to me saying that they watched it off of my recommendation and, messaging me and messaging us saying how much that they've been enjoying it too. And so I'm really happy about that. That's
I think you single-handedly got it that second season.
Well, hey, I'm happy. I'm happy to do the Lord's work here. I will say real quick, I just, with the little time that I had, I wasn't looking to think very much. And so I just put on Netflix and I was kind of thumbing through it, which I don't do a lot. And I watched 2 documentaries. And the first one was called Here we go. Michael Jackson, The Verdict.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you heard of this?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Okay. And just after having watched the movie, and it's, all that stuff, guilty or not, it's just also sordid. But I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of curious, like, to see, because apparently they interviewed people from the prosecution and the defense, and they basically make their cases again. So it's, when I think about my feelings and trying to sort through my feelings about Michael Jackson, I'm really talking about things I barely remember from like 10 years ago or longer.
Or much longer.
Yeah. Or that Leaving Neverland thing.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And so it was just interesting to hear both sides. And I would say where I came out again was, I don't know, but it doesn't look great. Is kind of, that's where I entered it. That's where I exited it. But, for anyone who's interested in that, it's about 3 episodes, and it was kind of interesting. And hearing, the prosecution, which lost in this particular case, just hearing them talk about where they think they misstepped. And,
I think that, we covered some of this when we talked about the film, but like at the end of the day, I mean, we don't know for certain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Either way, I mean, what we can say with certainty is that he was a talented guy who was also a bit odd, right? I feel like that's factually sound.
Yeah,
right. He had some predilections that were at least makes you arch an eyebrow.
Sure,
but what I find fascinating is this online sort of horde of absolute defenders. Like, there is no possibility that he did anything wrong.
Right.
And like, if anybody even intimates anything, the horde sort of descends, And I'm just like, what? I'm just like, how do you know? You don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and it's just weird. Like, why make that your identity?
Yeah. I don't know. But it's something you see in a lot of fandoms, right?
Yeah.
It's a type, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it was interesting. And I've talked about this with the OJ case. Like that is a little different because I'm just endlessly fascinated with that. But anytime they put out a new OJ documentary, I'm going to watch it. But I do feel like there is maybe this is twisted, but like a little bit of a nostalgia going on, like not for awful things, but it just reminds me of
that era.
It reminds me of an era. Yeah. And I understand that could sound kind of messed up, but yeah, there's something about going back in time and being like, oh, I remember this. And I kind of remember this period in time. And I don't know. It's I don't know, something that keeps me going back to some of these things occasionally, I guess. But then right underneath that, there was a documentary about Kylie Minogue.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't really know who Kylie Minogue is. Like I remember that she had some hits in the US, but I also knew that she is an international superstar, sort of like a Robbie Williams situation, right? Where in the US, we kind of know who that is, or they had one hit. They were like, oh yeah, the person had that one song. Whereas the rest of the world is like, wait. Like, this is like one of the biggest stars on the globe.
Right.
And so anyway, I think I needed a palate cleanser after the Michael Jackson thing. So then I watched the Kylie Minogue thing, and it was kind of interesting. Like, it obviously I know who she is, but seeing someone who is just this inevitable celebrity to so many people, from her being an actress first and then her music and whatever, I almost did feel like a space alien, like learning about something. And I'm like, oh, I recognize these tropes, like, oh, the person who launches into superstardom and then the world, but I don't really remember any of this. Speaking of nostalgia, gotcha. Right? So, but it was cool. She seems like a nice person.
Does it primarily focus on her role as Cammy in Street Fighter from 1994?
That is a great point. I don't know if it got there yet. I have one episode left. That's hilarious. That would be hilarious if they did.
Just one whole episode about that.
Yeah, but it talks about neighbors and her being a big celebrity from that show in Australia. And so, yeah, it's a little surfacey, which is kind of surprising considering it's 3 hours long, but
right.
It was interesting. And like I said, it was a nice palate cleanser, and to learn about someone who's, part of our cultural tapestry I just didn't know a lot about. So, so stuff like that, kind of like half watching that while I'm, doing other things. Yeah. It's been that kind of week.
I hear you.
Yeah. How about you?
I haven't seen a whole bunch, to be honest. I've seen the new season, or the first portion of the new season of X-Men 97, season 2.
Okay.
Which if fans who enjoyed the first season, it's already been 2 years since that came out, I think they'll sign up for this one, I suspect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When does that come out?
So that starts streaming. I think the first 2 episodes are on Wednesday. So the first of July.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
We'll talk more about that though in our next episode.
Mm-hmm.
We do have some listener letters though, Brian.
All right.
Mail call!
I believe you have a letter for me.
18,000 letters, all addressed to Santa Claus.
You got mail.
So yeah, well, we were just talking about Masters of the Universe earlier in the episode, and we've certainly gotten a lot of reactions to not only our commentary track for the 1987 movie, but also just our broader discussion about the film itself.
Mm-hmm.
So here's one we got from Mike Snyder. Now Mike Snyder, for our longtime listeners, may already know he is an even bigger Masters of the Universe fan than I am.
It is his passion. Yes.
Yeah, which is really saying something. So I was actually very much looking forward to his thoughts on both our commentary and the new film. Mm-hmm. So Mike says, I'll start off by saying how much I appreciate the shout outs I've gotten several times over the last few years leading up to the new Masters of the Universe movie. If I'm known as the Motu guy by your listeners, I think that'll be a fine way to be recognized. Well, there you go, Mike. Like both of you, I grew up with He-Man and the toys and cartoon. The 1987 movie was the first movie I ever saw in theaters, and I still think of that moment as an awakening, as my 2 major hobbies are movies and toys. I think that film also cemented my love for various genres of film like 80s fantasy and maybe mid-budget schlock. It warmed my heart and made me feel seen to hear your commentary track and recognize the thought and care put into the movie despite its canon film's shortcomings, and how you can see the exact moment the money runs out after He-Man and Skeletor clash and the lights go out.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
I too compare Langella as Skeletor to Raul Julia as M. Bison, speaking of Street Fighter, all the time as well. Regardless of how anyone feels about the movie, I think Langella is absolutely magnetic in his performance. But enough about that old movie until the 4K comes out. It's time to share, which I pre-ordered that, I should say, of the 87 movie.
Yeah, which I think I mentioned this on the show. Apparently has an extended cut, like some sort of
like a preview cut.
Interesting. That's kind of, I like that more and more of those are coming out these days.
I'm glad.
Fascinating. I want to see that Gremlins 2.5 hour one.
No, you don't.
This is the kind of friend you need, when you're ready to go jump in, into the thing, and someone just gently grabs your arm and says, "No, you don't."
I don't know. Mike says it's time to share my theatrical experience of the 2026 Masters of the Universe. Come on this journey with me, Brian.
I'm ready. I want to hear this.
I've been hyped for any new movie of these characters to exist while making an entire room of my house dedicated to my toy collection and getting a Skeletor tattoo on my arm and a Sword of Power on my wall. So when it finally seemed like it was out of development, heck, I was ecstatic. My girlfriend Elle lovingly laughed at how emotional I got just watching the trailer and seeing new versions of He-Man and Skeletor for the first time. Everything timed out just right, and I was able to get home from a 5-week tour to go to the opening night fan event with her on an awesome Dolby screen, and we started the day by watching the 87 movie before heading out. To make the day even more emotional, it was the anniversary of my dad's passing. He took me to the original and took an interest in every iteration of He-Man with me. I remember him helping me assemble my Starship Eternia from the New Adventures toy line. He would have been so excited to see this new film, and although I'm sad he's gone, it was a nice tap on the shoulder by him that this was the day we were seeing it. Elle and I are seated and the film starts, and I'm somehow both transported to being 5 years old again and completely present with every moment. I got choked up at action scenes simply because I was seeing a cinematic version of what I saw when playing with my toys as a kid. Okay, and maybe looking at my shelves as an adult. I got a new moment of Dolph Lundgren saying good journey.
Yeah.
I got Eternia in its Filmation Technicolor glory, and I got a perfect-looking Skeletor filled with bravura and some well-balanced camp. I'm obviously biased, but I don't know if there was a single moment that didn't make me overwhelmed with joy. But one moment hit above them all. One of my other favorite 80s schlocky fantasy films is the original Highlander. And I have both an 87 Masters of the Universe poster and a Highlander poster on my wall in my house. The visuals of Highlanders have always grabbed me, and a few years ago I finally got to go to Scotland and visit many of the locations in person, and I'm hoping to go back next year. And the soundtrack by Queen is a big part of my love for that movie, and I obnoxiously rock out to Princes of the Universe on a regular basis. So we're well into watching this movie, and it already feels like a dream come true. But then, when Adam and the heroic warriors break out of the prison at Snake Mountain and we hear Freddie Mercury belt out, "Here we are," Elle and I shifted in our seats and locked eyes, and without saying a word, had that "is this really happening?" moment, and an equal amount of laughter and tears poured out of both of us. At this point, I believe this movie was specifically made for me. Like, how could it be so on the nose with all of the things I love all at once? The song continued along with an epic battle scene heading towards Castle Grayskull, and I was still wondering if I was going to wake up from a dream. People often talk about their best moments in life being huge ceremonious days, but I can honestly say that moment in that movie, with that music and with Elle being beside me, holding my hand and experiencing it all with me, is already one of my favorite moments of my life, and I'm going to have that memory forever. It wasn't complicated or grandiose. It was just a perfect moment at the movies with someone who loves me and silly whimsy. A week later, we went again and took her two amazing kids, and that was the first in-theater experience I had with them, and I'm so happy for this to be the movie for that moment. Loved hearing your thoughts on it too, and despite its box office shortcomings, I hope it finds more love as time goes on, as I think it's a great time that also has a lot of heart and plenty to say on how society looks at masculinity. I'm an emotional softie and glad that it showed He-Man has some of that too. Love you guys and appreciate all you do. Mike Snyder.
That's wonderful. Just on so many levels. I really loved hearing his specific experience with it, and that just seemed so magical. All those things coming together with that first viewing experience. I mean, everything from his life. And it just makes me think, yeah, that's just the magic of movies too, isn't it?
It really is. Well, there's still some more magic because we also got a note from Brendan Agnew, also about Masters of the Universe. He says, "Howdy, Zach and Brian. Much appreciate you making 2026 a bit more bearable. As a fellow acolyte of, I'll believe there's a new He-Man movie when I'm sitting through the ending credits. It's been fun to follow y'all. Well, follow the project's development through the years, and I'm glad you seem to enjoy the eventual movie as much as I did. But I also wanted to share a delightful experience from the Utes. My daughter Marion had next to no context for Motu outside the Netflix She-Ra and the Princesses of Power show. But as she's also a huge fan of Travis Knight's Bumblebee, I figured she'd enjoy this. We showed her the 1987 canon film as a cultural artifact. Choice commentary on that, by the way. Thank you, Brendan.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. And she was amused by it, but also clocked the "we really want to be Star Wars" energy from Jump Street. By the time we were seated for the new hotness in 4DX, she was genuinely excited for this 40-plus-year-old nostalgia play. Needless to say, she marked out for that cameo during the credits, but was genuinely engaged by the film itself. We especially appreciated the film's stance on positive masculinity being about lifting others up, giving everyone a chance, but being entirely willing to punch a fascist in the face. But we also needed more Battle Cat. Keep up the great work, and thanks for everything you do."
Oh, that's fantastic. This is great too. The thing about sharing it with like a younger generation, where this could become, that's been part of the conversation, right? Like this movie maybe was only going to appeal to a certain generation, right? But these people bringing their kids to this could be the thing that ignites a new love for, skip a couple generations maybe, and then this new younger generation will carry a torch for He-Man.
Yeah, I feel like we're staring down the barrel of another Rocketeer situation.
Perfect. Yep. I think you're right. Yep. Yep.
Now, taking a slightly contrarian view, here's a note we got from Luke Smale on YouTube. So first of all, he says, love your commentary about the 87 movie, and everything comes to he who waits, and I have waited so very long for this moment. Our commentary track. Which is nice. He says, I actually have a Courtney Cox story for you.
Oh.
When we were in Malibu 15 years ago, my brother and I went to a restaurant and encountered Courtney Cox with her boyfriend/friend having lunch next to us. My brother, being a huge He-Man fan, said to her, Miss Cox, I'm from Australia, and normally at this point you might expect me to ask you about Friends. Well, to hell with that. I want to talk to you about the He-Man movie you were in. Her friend got really excited and looked at her saying, you were in a He-Man movie and you didn't tell me?
Amazing.
She was really lovely about it, but the weird thing she asked my brother, how is Dolph doing these days? Unfortunately, my brother doesn't have a direct line to Ivan Drago. Regarding this movie, the 87 one, it was one of my first movie memories as a kid, and I remember dragging my 90-year-old great aunt to it. To this day, I think the villains are underrated and scary. Langella manages to be both theatrical and intimidating at the same time. Even though the movie is cheap as all hell, I actually still really dig the tone and love the Bill Conti score, and long live the memory of James Tolkien. It will always have a special place in my heart, as the poster of this movie was the very first Drew Struzan poster I ever owned.
Oh.
I just came out of the new one a couple hours ago, the 2026 one, and you guys are about to shove the Sword of Grayskull up me, as I was a bit disappointed.
Oh.
I was kind of hoping for a TMNT 1990 adaptation, which took itself seriously to a point rather than the cartoon. The comedy just kept taking me out of the movie. It just wasn't for me. Great cast, though. I thought Nicholas Goldstein did a great job with what he was given. But yeah, kids will love it, and I'm definitely going to be in the minority with my old man yelling at the sorceress in the sky opinion.
Fair.
It's all good.
Fair. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I even talked about that a little bit, where the first half, I wasn't so sure if I was vibing with some of the humor. But it for me, it was like the second half where it really locked in for me personally.
Yeah, if there is a critique, I understand it is people not loving the jokey tone, and you either roll with it or you don't. And, it did not bother me, but I mean, I certainly understand why it might for others.
Yeah. Appreciate the takes from all sides.
Absolutely. We also, we just did our Supergirl 84 commentary.
Yes, which was a lot of fun.
Got some reactions to that as well. So here we go. Here's a note we got from Charles Landy, and this is on Facebook. He said, I remember loving this weird-ass movie when I was a kid. Mainly because of how gorgeous Ellen Slater was. And is, by the way, I'll just say. So, it's all good. I get it. It also might be one of the first instances of a shared cinematic universe with Christopher Reeve's picture being used in it. And of course, my man Jimmy Olsen showing up and being useless. and maybe a creepy pervert guy based on his relationship with Lucy Lane.
Right.
Yeah, figure that out. He says, I don't know if it's because I'm a little older than you guys, but from my perspective, the older guys dating far younger women thing, a la Jimmy Olsen, is definitely something that was normalized back then. Movies and TV were notorious for it, even in some of the stuff we now know and love, Indy and Marion, for example. If anyone thought the subject of pedophilia and or age disparity in relationships was notorious now, its modern roots absolutely lie in the 1980s. Its roots absolutely go further back, but in this instance and for that time period, it was accepted, it was normalized, and it was everywhere. Which I think that we basically, right, that's where we landed, because we were talking about on Saved by the Bell.
Yes, right.
And how there was nothing in the show about Kelly is dating, the Patrick Muldoon character who is A, her boss, and B, an adult.
Right. Well, she's in high school. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's nothing made in the show about that.
Yeah.
She also dates her professor in the college years. So there's concerns all the way around.
I am completely in the dark with the college years. I think maybe I saw the pilot or something, and then I didn't continue with it. Did you watch all of them? So you were standing at the edge of tomorrow, and you decided to step back. Yeah, I guess, yes.
From said edge.
Yeah. Were those any good?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's comparable to the OG show, right? Mm-hmm. But there was sort of an arrogance of being like, hey, this shit that worked on Saturday morning
Well, hey,
it worked for the Cocoa Puffs crowd on Saturday mornings.
Totally.
We try to put this in prime time. It's going to be measured to a higher standard.
Yeah, that is kind of insane because, it was very much a tone, for like 12-year-olds or 10-year-olds or whatever on a Saturday morning. And it is kind of funny if they didn't change it that much and tried to put that into prime time.
Yeah, like how do you slot it between like Mad About You and Frasier or whatever? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
And not that it was slotted that way, but it was on the same network. So
yeah. It kind of makes me think of sort of like the Barbie movie where it's like her come to the real world and everyone's like, "What's the matter? What's your problem?" And she's like wearing this big bright pink outfit and cowboy hat and everything. Like that's kind of like them in prime time.
Very much so. Thank you for that, Charles. This is from Rob Kelly, also on Facebook, also about the Supergirl commentary. He says, enjoyed the commentary, fellas. I saw Supergirl when it came out and walked out pretty disappointed in everything except Helen Slater's performance. I feel like that's the commonality here.
Yeah.
Everyone pretty much agrees she's doing a journeyman's job.
Mm-hmm.
Amid all the bad / misguided / lazy things in the movie, I actually think Faye Dunaway is one of the worst. She's playing it like she's a villain from the Batman TV show, which maybe was all she knew about comic books. Of course, then it's up to the director to step in, but one imagines Jenna Zwark was not going to be able to have much control over the notoriously difficult Dunaway. I know I'm completely in the tank for Richard Donner. He was even a guest on one of my podcasts, Superman Movie Minute. But he and screenwriter Tom Mankiewicz, who did the 78 movie, seem to be the only people on the production side of those Superman movies that didn't just regard the whole thing as a giant joke. The minute he was gone, in came the slapstick and dumb jokes. No one seemed to know how to approach this material without looking down on it. One last thing, Supergirl is one of a long line of female-led comic book movies that got produced after the original series had run its course. I mean, granted, Supergirl was like, Superman 3 came a couple years later. Superman 4 came a couple years later, but at the time, Supergirl is interesting because I think when they announced it, Superman 3 was in production, so I don't think they expected Superman 3 to tank.
Sure.
But yeah, the point stands. Rob says, see also Red Sonja, which came after Conan and the Destroyer, and Catwoman, which came after Batman and Robin. And of course, Rob doesn't mention this, but I must see Elektra.
Yeah, sure.
Which came after Daredevil. Brian's first film credit. That was not a credit.
Yeah, that was, yeah. But you're the one who, I always get to carry this with me about that movie. Oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. The director of The Rocketeer and...
Joe Johnston.
Yeah, Joe Johnston, you interviewed him and you told him that story about how I worked on that and didn't get the credit. And he said something to the effect of like, sometimes maybe it's better not to get the credit.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, that's cool. He referenced me.
Yeah, exactly. So Rob says, so Hollywood offers these movies only after bleeding the original series dry. And then when they fail, get to claim women-led superhero movies don't work, rinse and repeat. Can't argue with that.
Yeah. And also, I think thinking about all those movies at once, it's like they try too hard to make a girl superhero movie, in quotes.
Yeah.
It's like, just make a superhero movie.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And Supergirl 84 definitely falls into that, right? Where they...
I think today we're in a whole different social space where the online environment has just made it impossible. Because there's an entire discourse driven by don't let anything with the female lead succeed.
Right. They immediately have like a battle ahead of them.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing that with the new Supergirl, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but also just broadly, we saw it with Captain Marvel. We saw it with the Marvels, and it's like there's this joy in seeing this stuff flop so that they feel like they've extracted a scalp,
Nice. Yeah.
It's really messed up.
Yeah.
Here's an email we got from Dan Kiedis, who says, I never met a movie film commentary I didn't love.
Aww.
However, Supergirl 84 was a real treat for the ears. Hey. What a twist. I absolutely agree. A lot of the film's shortcomings boil down to a middle-aged male interpretation of what teenage girls are probably into. Boys and field hockey. What else is there, really?
It's so, yeah.
I have a strange affection for that film, mostly because it's such an oddity. It's also fun to try and distinguish who's more drunk from one scene to another between Messrs. Cook and O'Toole.
It's so true. Yeah.
I enjoyed you explaining a little about Supergirl's weird and wonderful comics history to Brian, although I don't know whether I'm glad or disappointed that you didn't attempt to explain Matrix Supergirl to him. The early 90s were such a weird time to be a Superman fan. I'm going to come back to that in just a second.
Yeah, I want to know.
I had a very similar experience to Brian on the other side of the world in terms of seeing Santa Claus the movie absolutely everywhere, but never actually watching it. I hope you both have an amazing time with Craig Gillespie's Supergirl. I myself won't be seeing it for a little while as I'm undergoing cancer surgery next week. But despite my not being the biggest fan of Superman 25 or the Woman of Tomorrow graphic novel, I'm actually very excited for the film. Thanks for everything you do, your friend Dan. So first of all, I just want to say Dan messaged me today, just earlier today, to say he's on the other side of procedure and he is on the mend. And he just wanted to give me the heads up that he's doing okay.
I'm really happy to hear that. And thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay. So Matrix Supergirl. So this I did ponder. Do I want to subject you to this? So essentially what happened is in the mid 1980s, they rebooted Superman. Right? I've told you about this before. The guy named John Byrne who was brought in, they just started Superman from scratch. Right. Mm-hmm. Now, before that happened, there was a storyline called Crisis on Infinite Earths where they killed off Kara Zor-El. She died saving the universe, right? So they reboot Superman, and one of the decisions that is made is Superman will be the last surviving Kryptonian.
Okay.
So if you remember, he's called the last son of Krypton. Mm-hmm. Well, last son has some wiggle room. They're like, no, last Kryptonian, period. So no Supergirl. That's it.
Okay.
However, what I think what they realized is that, well, Supergirl is a trademark that has to be in active use. So we can't just like let that go, right? Uh-huh. So essentially they introduced a character who was and stay with me on this. She was a protoplasmic entity created on an alternate Earth that Superman was pulled to because some evil Kryptonians from that universe had unleashed havoc and they needed Superman's help, but there was no one else left on the planet other than these evil Kryptonians, Superman, and this protoplasmic entity that took the form of a Kryptonian woman that vaguely looks like the Supergirl from before Crisis. You with me?
I shockingly am. You're very good at this.
Okay. So this is that universe's version of General Zod and his two compatriots. Superman, as the last surviving anything on that planet, the last representative of law and order, uses kryptonite to kill these Kryptonians. Mm-hmm. And of course, Superman has his oath not to kill. He has violated this oath, and this kind of messes him up, and that becomes a storyline that plays out over the next several months. However, before he returns to our Earth, he finds this protoplasmic entity and finds that she is still alive, so he brings her back to Earth. And then she sort of creates a new identity, and she's called Matrix because she's like a Matrix life form. It's just she's not real. Mm-hmm. But to honor Superman and how she was created, she becomes Supergirl. But wait, hold on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this was the case till about 1997-ish, at which point they started a new Supergirl monthly series, and they decided that, well, we need this character to have like a human side, something that makes her relatable. So she's not like Data from Star Trek. And so she merges with a young girl named Linda Lee who is dying. She doesn't just take her form, she merges with her. So now she is both Supergirl and Linda Lee.
Wait, so is she like liquid metal, like T-1000-y? Like
not liquid metal, like goo.
I mean,
like
not literally, but yeah, like she's
goo.
So she's
Clayface.
Goo taking the form of someone who looks like Supergirl, and now she applies herself to this dying young woman.
Correct.
Okay. Sort of like Venom-ish.
Venom-ish.
Yeah.
Similar, but more like they just merge together.
Okay.
And then during the course of that storyline, she also takes on the abilities of an Earthborn angel. And she is not just Supergirl, Matrix, and Linda Lee. She is also an angel with wings of fire.
So she has 3 personalities or names?
No, it's like two personalities, but she also has this other thing on the side. Okay, so your reaction is kind of a normal reaction because what happened is but this was sort of the status quo into the early part of the aughts, and that was the current Supergirl. That's just what it is, right?
Uh-huh.
And I think what happened is you had some new management come in at DC, and I think the thought was like, why are we doing all this? Like if you have to explain Supergirl to somebody, what's easier? Oh, this is Kal-El's cousin who also survived Krypton, or let me give you this, this Britannica style handbook explaining all that other stuff.
Yeah. I think if I were in that meeting and I was sitting those people down, I would start with, have you ever heard of the expression, a hat on a hat? You know what I mean?
It's really, so they basically unwound the Matrix Supergirl storyline, and they just kind of wrote her out of continuity, and then they just reintroduced Kara Zor-El. This is like 2004 or 5, and that's been the case ever since.
It just seems crazy.
And I should say real quick, the Supergirl, the Matrix Supergirl series, not bad.
I was just gonna say, as crazy as it sounds, I kind of admire the ambition.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, okay, we're not going to do it the way that we've done it before. Let's try something nuts. And, and then, so you say it's not even that bad.
It wasn't bad. Yeah. It lasted for about 80 issues, I think, which isn't nothing.
What was her personality like? Did she have one?
I mean,
if she was goo.
Well, I think that was part of the reason they merged her with this human character to like give her that because that essentially became her.
Okay.
Just for the sake of giving her an identity and a personality.
But was she driven by the goo's will?
No, because she was an artificial life form who essentially came to life.
Okay.
So it's not Venom in that sense.
Yeah. It's not like a distinct personality.
It's like a person made of protoplasm that's like learning how to be a person, and then she merges with a human being. And what are we doing? What's happening here?
I don't know. We may have lost
like
the
4
audience.
subscribers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but I'm like kind of, I don't know. I have questions.
They tried. I guess that's my point. What you realize is I'm fairly certain it was like, we got to maintain this trademark. So just get us a Supergirl that we can put on t-shirts,
Yeah, and this is relevant because this is the Supergirl episode. So we're talking about her history.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. So resubscribe.
Yeah, come on. Get your finger off that mouse.
That unfollow button.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So well, thank you everybody who wrote in.
Yes, thank you very much.
And we got some headlines, Brian.
Extra, extra. What a scoop.
We have some sad headlines this week. Some significant passings. James Burrows, who is
legend.
I was going to say legendary TV director. He co-created Cheers,
one of the greatest shows of all time. I will take no contradiction to that.
And I will embarrass myself here and say that I've not seen it. I've not seen Cheers.
Brian, I'm going to say to you what I always say. You have 11 seasons of great TV just waiting for you.
Man, that's what I should be watching instead of Kylie Minogue documentaries.
Dude, just put on an episode a night.
Yeah, or 2.
Yeah, man. You got it made in the shade for several months.
Yeah.
And then you can roll right into Frasier. You got a whole thing going.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah. In addition to co-creating Cheers, he also directed over 1,000 episodes of
television. Yeah.
Yeah. TV comedy classics. I mean, Friends, Big Bang Theory, Will and Grace. I mean, just
every episode of Will and Grace.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, he really defined sitcom television in a really important era for it, So,
yeah, I think when we think of the multi-camera sitcom, we largely think of how James Burrows, set the set the stakes for it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what a career. I mean, when you say 1,000 episodes of TV, you know, he was asked at some point, taking stock of like his legacy and what would he like his legacy to be. And he said something to the effect of like, it'd be nice to think that every hour of the day somewhere, an episode of something he directed is playing.
Which is probably happening.
Right? Like that feels entirely probable.
Now, I remember when Friends was put on HBO, it almost feels like, I don't think Friends ever went away, but it feels like it just was back, like completely back. So many people in my life were watching Friends again, just binging it, you know, because it was available now in HD and, you know, at the push of a button. And it's just really speaks to the quality of that show. Right. You know, top to bottom. I mean, the writing, the acting, and the directing. You know, I mean, it's one thing to write a funny joke. It's another thing to execute it. You know, right. And that's a combination of the writers, the performers, and the director. And just that those are still beloved by different younger generations, and they're not perceived as some old artifact. You know, it just really speaks to the strength of the creators. And I mean, and he has, and it's not like that's the one show we can credit to him. You know, I mean, right. And then he went into later eras with Big Bang Theory, which was an enormous hit.
Right.
You know?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like if you say, I co-created Cheers and you call it a career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's enough.
That's enough. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
That by itself is enough. And then when you add on top of it everything he did, both before and after, because of course he directed Taxi and the things that led into Cheers, but then obviously all the stuff in the decade since. What a run! My gosh.
Oh yeah. But you know, I was thinking about it. It's kind of interesting because that multicam sitcom format was the dominant format for a lot of our lives, but it does feel like things have sort of transitioned into a more cinematic approach where not just dramas like Game of Thrones or Mad Men or something or Breaking Bad, those feel like films, like cinema, right? But it's also now 30-minute sitcoms and comedies. I mean, Big Bang Theory, its spinoff, Young Sheldon, is a single camera comedy. Right? Isn't that kind of fascinating? It feels like Big Bang Theory was maybe one of the last of that era.
Although the spinoff of Young Sheldon is a multicam show.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's I talk about this with my kids all the time. My students, that is. Like, I'm like, multicam has fallen out of its place of preeminence, but I don't think it's ever going to go away because I think there's something vital that it offers, which is sort of the communal experience. Mm-hmm. Right. There's something about hearing the laughter. I think when the laughter, like, okay, so I'm giving away my biases here because I don't find Big Bang Theory particularly funny. Mm-hmm. So the laughter is very grating to me.
Sure. Well, it's especially when you watch something like Friends,
right?
You do find most of it funny.
Yes.
Right. So you do feel like you're laughing with a group that's in on the joke with you. Like
exactly.
It's a group community feeling watching that show, laughing along with the laugh track. But then you watch a show where the jokes aren't funny and then this pretty overwhelming laughter like happens and you're like, wait, that just notice that it just doesn't feel like congruent, you know?
The warm-up guy is earning his soup that day.
Yeah. Well, as you and I know though, also we're like doing heavy lifting. You know, when you watch a sitcom being taped, you and I saw a sitcom being taped.
If you're in the audience, if you're part of the studio audience.
Yeah. And it wasn't particularly funny, but it's your job to laugh as if it's the funniest thing you've ever heard. And you do this for about 4 hours.
Yeah. Like what we were watching was like but they're telling you to be like,
Yeah.
And you do, it starts to feel like, can you just pipe some Joker gas through this room? I think that might make it easier.
Right.
But James Burrows, legend, he will be missed.
Yeah.
But he will never be forgotten. I mean, that's just a fact.
No, I mean, not only is his work probably airing at this minute right now somewhere, but it will continue to be airing for a very, very long time.
And hopefully this signals Brian's upcoming binge of Cheers.
Yeah, I need to do that. Another passing, someone who meant a lot to us when we were younger, and Schedeen,
Yeah.
who played Kate, the mom from Alf.
Not as many of the obituaries have said Alf's mom.
Right. She did a lot of work in the 70s and 80s and early 90s and even into the 2000s. But of course, is best remembered for Alf, which I loved as a kid. I still love Alf as a character. Like, seeing him still makes me smile. What was your relationship with Alf when you were younger?
Oh, I enjoyed it. As I'm sitting with you, I'm looking at my Alf puppet from Burger King.
Oh, amazing.
Right? Sitting right there to my left. He's just looking at me saying, "Hey."
Yeah, I mean, what a strange show when you really think about it.
It
I
really
mean,
was.
It was a prime time series where it was about a family living with this puppet.
Where
this alien
everyone
puppet.
behind the scenes was miserable.
Yeah, because I think there were a lot of egos on that set, for starters, but also I was reading a quote from Schedeen talking about, like, if you had a scene with Alf, it was a nightmare, just technically having to deal with that puppet. And like we were saying, we went to that taping of a sitcom and it took about 4 hours. I read that taping Alf took about 20 hours.
Oh, holy God.
Yeah. And apparently Max Wright, who played Willie, the dad on that show, I guess when they wrapped the final episode, he didn't say goodbye to anyone. He just walked off set, got in his car, and drove away.
Yep.
So
screw this experience. How I found out that she had passed away, this was crazy. I was on YouTube and a clip from Alf came up, and it was the episode where they had like a Gilligan's Island reunion, but it was on Alf.
Mm-hmm.
So you had like Russell Johnson as the professor, and Bob Denver and Alan Hale, and who played Marianne? What was her name?
Oh man, I don't know.
I forgot. She just passed away. She just passed away from COVID.
Oh.
But they were on it, and I was like, like how old were they when Dawn Wells, by the way, that's the actor's name.
Okay.
I was like, how old were they when this aired? And then it just put me down this rabbit hole. I was looking at their ages, and then I was like, and I knew Max Wright had passed away, and I was like, when did he die? And then I looked, and it was like 2019, and then I was like, Anne Schedeen. I was like, I wonder how old she is. And so I click on her Wikipedia page, and it says she's deceased. And I said, well, get out of here. And when I look at when it was that day, June 14th, 2 hours ago.
Wow.
So just by absolute chance, that's how I found out I've never had that happen. You go to Wikipedia, you're like, oh, she just died 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
That's
crazy that you weren't led there, from that news. Yeah.
Right.
Wow. What are the odds?
And it's very sad that Max Wright and Anne Schedeen and Benji Gregory, who played Brian, they have all passed away.
Yeah, it's really sad. Yeah. Benji Gregory, he died at 46. Very sad. Yeah.
Right. So at this point, Andrea Elson, who played Lynn, she's the only surviving cast member of Alf, other than Paul Fusco, who did the voice.
Yeah. I've done my deep dives on all of them also, like in the past several years. And I saw, what's the daughter's name again?
Andrea Elson.
Yeah. She seems to be doing well, and it made me happy. She's doing her thing, living her life.
Former actor.
Yep.
Which is one of the healthiest things you can be in this industry. Right. But Anne Schedeen, certainly an integral part of our childhoods,
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, she was a perfect energy to play off of Alf, her sort of no nonsense. She's not going to put up with it kind of thing against Alf's shenanigans. So.
And Willie married up, clearly.
For sure.
She was way out of her league.
Right.
Speaking of untimely passings, I guess we should talk about Disclosure Day.
Yeah.
Good Lord. I think it's very telling. This is just anecdotal, but we've gotten no Disclosure Day mail about our show.
That's fascinating.
Isn't that interesting?
it didn't occur to me, but yeah, you're right.
Right. So this movie, it opened well.
Yeah.
And then the following weekend, it just dropped like a stone.
Yeah.
And I think partly it dropped like a stone because Toy Story 5 came out the following weekend. But I think what's been more interesting has been how people who have seen it have reacted to it. And we're starting to see the generational divide.
Interesting. I have not read up on this, so I'm curious to hear you talk about it.
Well, I think the broad takeaway is that Papa Spielberg is now Grandpapa Spielberg.
Sure.
All right. So this is an article in Vulture. It says Disclosure Day's dismal box office drop reveals Hollywood's new generation gap. It says here the Disclosure has not seemingly had the desired effect over its second weekend in theaters. Spielberg's talky 2-hour, 25-minute sci-fi chase pursuit pot boiler declined by a steep 62% from its opening ticket taking tally. Nearly 2/3, right? It got blasted out by Toy Story 5. But what's interesting is the social media reactions, which are basically, as Vulture calls it, boomer bombing.
Okay.
So Disclosure Day is boomer arrival. That's one response. Disclosure Day is a fumbling, awkward, but warm hug from your grandfather. Oh,
well, that's nice.
you can tell Disclosure Day was directed by an 80-year-old because it's about how you can save the world by watching the news.
Right.
Now, I got to be honest, I can't disagree with any of that.
I know.
Right? And I think that the reaction that you and I and Pervez, what we were talking through last week, that's something sort of unique to our generation, like the Spielberg kids.
Yeah.
Because I'm not seeing the same from people younger than us who are broadly, by and large, dismissing it as whatever. Like they're not even spending much time thinking about it.
See, that's a good point. They feel a little more freedom to just out and out call it out.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like we understand and agree with a lot of it, but we're feeling this defensiveness or something for our guy.
Yeah.
I was picking up on that, like reading other people's reviews even, and in conversation with people. It's like we're almost like feel like we need to defend the guy and like his work because we know what he's done in the past and how much it's meant to. So maybe in a way we're defending the things that mean a lot to us by trying to somehow stand a little ground for the film. It's like, well, I know this doesn't work. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Well, it absolutely does. And I think to your point, this is from the Vulture piece. The obvious box office contrast is with Focus Feature's surprise blockbuster Obsession, which came out last month, directed by 26-year-old YouTube sensation Curry Barker, and largely connecting with fellow digital natives of his own generation or younger. Which, hey man, Spielberg was what? He was like 25, 26 when he made Jaws, right?
Yeah.
Hey, time comes for us all, man.
Yeah.
Right? Creating further polarity between Obsession and Disclosure Day, Universal spent heavily on TV ads, the kind of legacy marketing specifically targeting Gen X on through to the elderly that Generation Alpha, Gen Z, and Millennials tend to completely blank. Trailer spots during the Winter Olympics, Super Bowl, and the NBA playoffs alone reportedly cost the studio $24 million. Meanwhile, Focus, Universal's scrappy art house and genre division, confined its pre-release awareness push for Obsession to social media and viral marketing. And those ultimately engendered a robust word of mouth buzz and repeat viewings. Yeah. So I think this is interesting in that we are sort of witnessing a changing of the guard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Which, you know what? Spielberg's still getting to make movies. And even though this one didn't connect as strongly as some of his others for me, like I have liked some of his other movies in the past couple of years, and I don't think he's going anywhere. So it's great that we continue to get that from him. But I do like that we got new, fresh voices coming in here.
I think that this gets to a conversation you and I have had many times where it's like, it doesn't matter who you are as a filmmaker. At some point, the music's going to run out.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, the audience is just going to stop showing up.
Right.
I don't think Spielberg's there yet, by the way, because Disclosure Day, relatively speaking, did okay. It may have dropped, but it opened strong.
Mm-hmm.
And Steven Spielberg is still Steven F. and Spielberg.
Yeah. And we always talk about, the budget, being responsible with the budget. And I think this movie was somewhere, it's off the top of my head, like $110 million or something. So at least he wasn't out there trying to make some $210 million movie.
I think that yes, well, first of all, I agree with that. But also, if we think of Spielberg himself as the franchise, this summer so far, we've had The Mandalorian and Grogu, we've had Disclosure Day, and we've had Masters of the Universe, all just shining a big flashing light that the days of yore ain't coming back.
Yeah, that's a great point.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, Toy Story is sort of the exception that proves the rule this summer.
Yeah.
In terms of people showing up.
In terms of like some sort of legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a 30-year-old franchise and it's still playing like gangbusters.
Yeah.
Right. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting because the reactions to Disclosure Day, again, this is where you're the smarter of us because you don't poke your head into social media too often. I have a car wreck fascination.
Sure.
And so, what I saw in the wake of Disclosure Day was people being like, that's the worst thing I've ever seen. It so freaking sucked. Spielberg needs to apologize to me personally, that type of thing.
Right.
And then people are like, I saw it last night and I just can't stop crying.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm like, well, I'm not either of those places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think, not to speak for the broad populace, but I think we landed closer to where most people are when it comes to this movie, if they're thinking about it at all,
Yeah.
But I just think, yeah. Right now it's Christopher Nolan's time.
I was going to say on that note, I don't know if I was just looking up movie news before we got on, seeing what the big story was. And today, basically, they announced that they aren't going to have influencer screenings of the Odyssey.
Good.
And it feels like somehow it's spiritually related to what we're talking about right now.
I think Chris Nolan is one of the few people who can put a thumb in the eye of those people.
Right. Well, at least we don't have to watch, these staged people, walking in before seeing the Odyssey and then walking into the theater and walking out after seeing the Odyssey. And then they have this, jaw dropped and like a tear coming down their eye.
Maybe I'm showing some boomer energy myself. They are insufferable because it's all phony, baloney, freaking bullshit.
See, if it is slightly meta and they're making a joke, like say if that person from what I just described came out then wearing like old, army gear or something, or like a fake horse or something. It's funny. You're making a joke like that. I can get on board with. At least you're being silly. But like, yeah, the people who are trying to, it's just so false. It's phony. Right. And that's the stuff that I just can't get behind.
See, it's just like I'm not saying, look, now obviously people listening are like, okay, Zach, well, you're a film critic, so obviously you're gonna you're gonna defend your turf, right? But here's the thing: if I review a movie, I would like to believe that people read what I have to say because they've found my perspective worthwhile, in times past, and they know that I'm not gonna bullshit you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't have bags of swag handed to me.
Mm-hmm.
Before I watch a movie so that that can color my point of view. And I don't know how you can expect somebody who's being sort of wined and dined, so to speak, to give an honest take on something,
Sure. Well, and just those takes are just so obviously not the truth.
Right.
So like, I don't like the shills. I've seen a lot of people online who are very imaginative, using the medium to talk about how they felt about a movie they just watched. I'm totally on board for that. That's
right.
That's what people are looking at these days. That's cool to me. But yeah, it's just when you get these people then going to these screenings and it's like all these huge personalities in the room, filming themselves with the take they already had, pre-scripted before they walked in to see the movie.
That's right.
That's the stuff that I just can't. I don't know.
Yeah. And again, what we were talking about before, unfortunately, the algorithmic age we're in, it's geared towards either this extreme or that extreme.
Yes, that's part of the problem.
Right. And we've also talked about this before, a YouTube reaction face.
Yeah.
On those tiles.
Uh-huh.
What a pox on humanity. Like the fact that our collective human evolution over the course of millions of years has brought us to that, has brought us to somebody doing like a Macaulay Culkin Home Alone face against, a poster of Supergirl or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I was just picturing as you were talking, someone watching this on their phone and they're just swiping up.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, hey, we got a couple new releases to discuss.
Yeah.
And now we're pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Okay, we are back, and you know who else is back, Brian?
Who's that, Zachy?
Why, it's Buzz and Woody.
Are they, though?
They'll never leave.
Right.
We thought we said goodbye 16 years ago, and then 7 years ago. We're not saying goodbye anymore. Now we're just saying good journey at this point.
Good journey. Yes, right.
Toy Story 5 is in theaters. It's doing very, very well. It's bucking the tide, as we said before, of franchises underperforming. Seems like Toy Story is an ironclad brand, at least for the time being.
Yeah. Opening weekend, it made over $300 million globally.
There you go. So I hear a lot of, why don't they just leave it alone?
Yeah, sure.
This is why they don't just leave it alone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. We should say, you and I, we had the chance to see this together. It's a rare opportunity.
Yeah, that was really nice. And two of your kids joined us too. So it was kind of fun. We got to discuss it, you, me, and Sean, but we also got to hear your kids' perspectives, which was fun.
That's right. But you and I actually held off on discussing it too much.
That's true. Yeah.
We're going to talk about it. So why don't you tell me what you thought?
I thought it was darn good. I understand that a lot of people think that Toy Story 3 is a perfect ending, and it's a shame to keep going because maybe it, lessens that perfect ending, and I can appreciate that perspective. But if you can think of it as like a chapter on the shelf, the Andy chapter, right? And clearly,
I like that.
Right, and this is, it's cynical sounding. This is show business.
I was literally gonna say that. So
yeah, and as you just said, Toy Story is the closest thing Pixar has to a sure thing. It's not the closest thing; it is their sure thing. People keep showing up for these characters. People love these characters, and Toy Story 4. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even remember a lot of it, but I do remember enjoying it, and I bet if I put it on tonight, I would enjoy it again.
Yeah,
So I don't know. There's still something to that. And so with this one, this feels like another story in the Toy Story universe. And with some time thinking about it, I realized there were some thoughts I had when I was watching it that I shushed a little bit.
Interesting.
I don't know that it felt as airtight as some of the other ones. But having said that, and we can get into that in spoilers, but I don't think those are, I would even call them problems, honestly. I just think the first 3 or 4 are just perfection. Mm-hmm. And this one, I saw a few seams, a little more than I'm just not used to with the Toy Story movies. But like, even though that, I wouldn't even count that against it, honestly. And when I walked out with the feelings that I had watching this story, I was like, Pixar's on another level. Like, people make great, children's movies. They make great computer animated movies, but no one is doing it like Pixar, and certainly no one is doing it like they do when they make Toy Story movies. So, the one thing I'll say too before we get into spoilers is, what I liked is this is a very Jessie focused story.
Yeah,
and it's not like they just conjured something out of thin air for her to deal with, like sort of like Marty McFly suddenly doesn't like being called chicken, and it's like she has this new issue that they just invented so they can make a new story or something, right? Like, this connects to things that had happened to her when she's introduced in Toy Story 2. So it does, to me, feel like it's all connected, and it was
authentic.
It feels authentic. It feels truthful for her, and it was a journey I enjoyed going on and felt a lot while I was watching. So, yeah, I'm curious what you thought.
Yeah, I think that kind of what you said before about Toy Story 3 being a perfect ending, and it was, but it's an ending.
Yes.
As you said, of a chapter. And I think we've been fortunate in that they've done 2 movies since then that have both been pretty good. But, look, at some point there's probably going to be one that isn't good.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think there is sort of, people are very precious because it's like, these are our toys. We want to keep them on the shelf, so to speak,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, they're going to get played with.
Right.
I like that at least up to this point, there has been an effort to ensure that if they're going to keep going, there's a story worth telling.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think what you mentioned before, I like that this one, they said, we have other toys in the box.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we can have a Jesse centric story that doesn't ignore, our buddies.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that they found a role for Woody that acknowledges where the last movie left him and doesn't undo it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I think that that's a perfectly fine way to proceed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I do think it's funny that, when Toy Story 4 came out, I sort of likened it. I likened Woody's ending to Steve Rogers' ending in Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, right.
And 7 years later, both characters come back after their ending.
Yeah.
So, I guess what I'm saying is I want Buzz and Woody in the MCU.
Right. Well, that's why I said, I meant it cheekily and not sarcastically when you said that Buzz and Woody are back. They are, but they're kind of not the main characters.
Yeah,
in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and like, I didn't mind that, but I don't know how other people might feel about that.
Agreed. And I like the idea that they don't need to be in this one, but perhaps they could be in the next one again. Like, I would rather that than the, filmmakers just either repeat beats with those characters or, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Either story beats or even just their personal.
Oh, they're mad at each other again. And they're friends again.
Exactly. Yeah. I'd rather it's like, okay, well, right now, actually, we're pretty excited about this idea we have about Jesse, which means we're going to put some of the other characters a little bit more to the side in this one. And then maybe they'll come up with a crazy, Mr. Potato Head story for the next one. That's fine. And then
So that's my thought, right? This takes me back to like when I would watch Star Trek The Next Generation as a kid, back when you had 26 episode seasons,
mm-hmm.
and you just had to fill that shit. It's like not every episode is about Captain Picard or Data.
Exactly.
You'd be like, oh, this is a Geordi episode.
Yep.
And this one's about Worf. And yeah, we'll pop in. We see, Picard's on the bridge doing his thing, but this is a Worf one,
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I feel like that's where we're at with Toy Story. So just adding to what you're saying, yeah, this is the Jessie one.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Jessie.
Mm-hmm.
So I like this story. And I like that she has an emotional journey that I think if you gave that emotional journey to Buzz or Woody, it would feel a little bit like, well, haven't we done this already?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right. And so I think that's what I appreciated. It's sort of like, okay, what's the totality of this? How can we incorporate all of our toys while not undermining, the progression they've had, not resetting. Again, if we had ended this movie with Buzz and Woody back where they were, at the start of the fourth movie, like that didn't happen, I wouldn't have liked that.
It's so funny. Yes. My ultimate answer is yes. Do I kind of want Woody to be back in the room with everybody? Like, there's a little part of me that I got to be honest. Yeah, kind of. Like, I would like to see more of him because that's what I've enjoyed in the past. But I also know that the ultimate answer is yes, it's best not to undo what they've done.
Yeah.
It wouldn't feel authentic, to use your word. I also love that I thought this was a very sweet Bonnie story.
Yeah.
And I even wonder how it felt for you as a parent, because it's a very current topic. I mean, my heart broke like just broke. I mean, if it's a Pixar movie, of course it did, but my heart broke during certain scenes, just seeing what it was like to be a child in this moment and trying to fit in, but not just trying to fit in. I mean, that could be any era, but trying to fit in this era with these tech toys.
That's weren't you glad watching it that we grew up before all this freaking shit?
I mean, yeah, I say this a lot. I love that I get to see, I have experienced both sides of it. I had enough life before it that I have that context.
Yeah.
And I get to have this life after with the benefits, GPS, all those sorts of things, and the easy communication that you and I could just text super easy right before we hop on. Like, ready,
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. And we can also get lost in it. Many adults can also become zombies with this stuff too. But, and fall prey to some of the things that can make us more depressed, as a result of social media and thinking that other people's manufactured, happiness and the pictures that they post on vacation and making their lives look like they're perfect. And we think, well, why isn't my life like that too? Right. Like we can fall victim to that stuff, but I do feel very appreciative that we have decades without it. So we can sort of be like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't feel right. And it probably isn't. And a perspective.
Yeah. I tell my kids, like, whenever they happen to be in the car with me, I'm like, my rule is if you're in my car, your phone stays in your pocket.
Interesting.
And I'm just like, I can at least for that, 20 minutes, half hour, give you time where you don't feel the need to just scroll.
Yeah. And I mean, well, there's that component to it. And there's also the trying to fit in socially in a digital landscape. We see Bonnie in this chat with her neighbor, the neighbor kids, excuse me. And just the way that she can be bullied, for being herself.
Assholes, them kids.
Dude, I was so mad at those kids in this movie. I seriously wanted like the Rebecca De Mornay from The Hand That Rocks the Cradle to like knock him off a swing set or something. Like, it made me so angry. And it broke my heart. And so I like that the movie was willing to go there because Pixar does. They break your heart. And so that's compelling. I want that to be fixed. And that's a really great motivator for our toy characters. They want to help, but it's a new digital landscape that they don't understand. And they have to learn about that. And they have to, you know what I mean? They have to catch up to it and figure out how to, like Jessie takes a real strong stance, a hard stance against tech at the beginning. This is bad. And I love that along the way, she meets these tech characters that are kind of cool and kind of nice. And they also love Bonnie. So she learns that lesson. She also learns how. Wait, I got to ask, actually, is this the story where the toys have maybe meddled most with their human's life?
Yeah, possibly.
So I don't know, but I really, really enjoyed that journey. I thought it was a great story.
Yeah, just to call back to what you were talking about with kids and they're just handing them the devices at such an early age. The thought I had while watching is like, if like the whole thing about Toy Story is that these are the toys that you play with as a kid, and then eventually you grow past them or whatever. But they're physical things. They're things you hold in your hand, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, I mean, you've been in my room. It's like I've got all kinds of toys here, right? Mm-hmm. And why do I have them? Because they're avatars of, good memories for me, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's a physical representation. I'm like, if we're just handing kids devices such that they're not playing with toys, like are they just gonna have memories of like hitting stuff on a screen?
Yeah, just tap, 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 tap.
Like, because I saw a video the other day of people who collect Nintendo game packs.
Okay.
So they just have like they have a display shelf full of old like NES games, right? Mm-hmm. And on the one hand, you're like, well, that's like, what's the point of that, right? Mm. But then you think, but it's still a thing. Like you held it in your hand here's a thing, and it's got the picture on it, and that's your memory.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have some VHSs in my closet.
Exactly.
I've
right?
gotten rid of most of them. I'm not going to play them, but there's like 4 or 5. E.T., the original from 1989 or whenever it came out. Like, it's a little physical object that I can look at that, is a window or a touchstone to my past or something.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what are we now? It's like, oh, I've got a framed screen grab of my home screen from 20 years ago with all those apps I liked.
Yeah. Or
Like, is that what we're?
No, it's true. Yeah, for some reason, the first thing that came to mind was Elf Bowling. Do you remember that game?
No.
It was like this game that I played for a while, and I loved it. And now it's disappeared. You can't find it anywhere. I've looked, and like you can't. I don't know. Is it the same? I don't know. Actually, for me it isn't. But that might go back to us having the both worlds of it all.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious in 10, 15 years what a kid who mostly grew up just playing these tap games
Right.
on a device, how they will feel about that.
I mean, this is a conversation we've had on the show in months past, right? Where you're seeing physical media mounting a comeback.
Yeah. VHSs, tape cassettes.
Yeah. Among like the younger set, like people younger than us.
Yeah. I've heard my friends' kids like CDs.
See that? And I think it's just being able to hold it in your hands.
I mean, there's something to it. You were talking about that even with the 4K recently. There's just certain movies you just kind of want to have on the shelf and be able to pull off and have the act of, you know what, I'm choosing to watch this, and the ceremony of putting it in the player and hitting play.
Yeah, and I'm committing to finishing it.
Yeah.
But so all of that, I think the lily pad character is an avatar for all of this, right? All of this tech angst. And it's funny because my wife Amina, she watched it and she found she was not happy. She was not thrilled with how the film resolves the lily pad part of it.
Okay, I want to hear more of that when we get into spoilers. I'm curious.
Yeah, and I was like, well, what other way is there? I guess, right?
Yeah, I have feelings about it that are kind of positive, I guess. Or like, that's what else can you do?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, she did like the movie though. So
I did want to throw out before we get into spoilers that Conan O'Brien being in this, like, I love him so much, and I've loved him for so long that when he's been doing these acting gigs, I almost get a little nervous because I want him to do well, And he is he is Conan O'Brien. It's hard to imagine him as a character, right? Like when I watched How If I Had Legs I Would Kick You, I thought he did a good job, but I was also like, okay, I know it's him, and I know what he's like, and I know he's ready to do a bit. It's like simmering underneath and probably somewhere. But this, I was like, this is so perfect for him, where he could do a voice acting gig. And I thought he was hysterical as potty training device. I thought he, was one of the highlights of this movie.
Yeah, brilliant. It was recognizably him.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter, she's like, "That's Conan."
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you can tell how many of his videos she watches.
Yeah, I believe it.
And she was very excited when there's a dream sequence where he has Conan's hair.
Yes.
Right. It's like the smarty pants little device. One of my favorite introductions into it, the Toy Story verse. I would be disappointed if they didn't find a way to have him in another one.
Yeah, I could see him being a part of the gang like that and gets fed a lot of lines.
Yeah.
And he feels like a character. It doesn't feel like Conan O'Brien pretending to be a device. Like, he actually did feel like a character.
Yeah. Another thing I thought was enjoyable and different in this one is the dream sequences, or the toy play sequences.
Totally. Yeah.
They had a very distinct animation style that's reflective of sort of where CG animation is going these days,
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, kind of this hand drawn, like it scratchy kind of, it's like, it looked like, kind of had a Spider-Verse vibe, or bad guys or something, you know?
Totally, yeah, very stylized versus trying to make everything look. There's a shot in here where these Buzz figures are wandering through like a stockyard or something like that.
Yeah.
Or not a stockyard. What do you call it? With cargo containers.
Yeah, for freight yard.
And freight yard. And you and I were both like, man, that was stunning. Like it looked like real footage shot with anamorphic lenses. And you're like, so this is where we've gotten with computer animation. But I agree with you. It's fun then to play with the kids' imaginations and making it super stylized and fun and cartoony.
And they've never done that in the Toy Story movies.
I don't remember. I remember in 3, there's a train robbery sequence at the beginning. And I don't totally remember what it looked like. I just remember it happening.
This felt distinct to me.
Yeah, which is kind of cool because this is Bonnie's imagination.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think bottom line for me is I'm past the point of being like, oh, why don't they let it go? I'm like, if you find good stories to tell them. I don't know that I will like all of them equally, but I am happy to revisit these characters whenever we get an opportunity. I mean, you can't say they're just cranking them out. I mean, it's been 7 years since the last one, so clearly they're taking time to grow roses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So grow them roses.
Agreed. Want to talk spoilers for a second?
Absolutely.
Spoiler.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah. You go. Who talks first? You talk first.
I'm really interested to hear more about the ending and the way that things are resolved. But I do just want to point out this one moment that I just absolutely loved. Okay, actually, this touches two things. One of the things that I didn't think felt as seamless as as Pixar typically does is the whole thing with the buzzes on the island at the beginning. I mean, this isn't even enough to be a complaint, but it's just something when they're usually so, perfect. I had read that Stanton, the director, and I'm sure he's a co-writer on this, he had this a vision of a bunch of buzzes who had washed up on shore somewhere and what their adventure would be, and he didn't know how it would fit into the story. He just knew he wanted to do it. And he cited Vince Gilligan, who, the showrunner behind Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, who famously, he would begin the seasons of Breaking Bad showing something he thought looked cool, but having no idea how that would be resolved later in the season.
Like a teddy bear in a swimming pool.
Yes. Or Walt opening the trunk of a car and seeing this big, like minigun.
Yeah.
And so he would paint himself into a corner on purpose. Well, maybe not on purpose, but like he would just do it because he thought it was cool and just knew he would have to figure it out at some point. And he always resolved it so well that people were like, no, there's no way you didn't have any inkling that you would get there. It's like, no, Gilligan and his writers were just that brilliant that they figured out ways to make all that feel inevitable.
Right.
And so I think Stanton felt that with these buzzes. And I don't know that it felt as inevitable.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean it wasn't fun. It did feel a little random when we kept cutting back to them. So I'm just, it was a feeling that I had. And that said, it led to one of my favorite moments, which was these buzzes, which apparently the buzz toys never understand that they're toys when they wake up or become sentient.
Right.
And so they just know they're trying to get to Star Command. And so they're just rushing through the world, just following the North Star, basically. And then one of them gets picked up by a kid on a camping trip. Right. And so for them, they're like, oh no, he's been, he's a hostage now. He's been kidnapped. And so they're thinking they need to get him back. And they go up to this tent where a boy is listening to the parents tell a bedtime story. And the buzzes see the lost buzz being hugged by the kid. And the buzz in the kid's arms just smiles at the other buzzes and gives a thumbs up like, no, I'm home.
Yep.
I was like, oh.
I love that. Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting emotional thinking about it right now. It was so beautiful. So that's the stuff. You know what I mean? Like, if you can keep doing that, then keep making these things. You know what I mean? But anyway, I do want to get then to, and then the one more thing. I'm curious what you thought about. So Jessie's trauma is basically she was abandoned, seemingly for her by her kid. In Toy Story 2, we get a flashback of that, and she feels like she'll never have a home again. She's been betrayed. She's hurt. She has a scar, right? And in this movie, she has an opportunity to go back to the place where that girl lived, and she finds a buried lunchbox of this girl's things. And we learned that her first owner grew up and named her daughter after Jessie.
Yeah.
And it's funny because part of me, I hate this, but part of me was like, I don't know, would she remember to name her daughter after that toy that,
What
you know,
would
Elizabeth, I think her name is the girl, like was Jessie, I don't know. There's part of me that was like, does that feel right that she would do that after all those years? And,
like if a toy meant a lot to you.
Or I guess I'm trying to
with.
remember, and like I can get called out right here. That's fine because I don't remember if she was lost or if she was just given away. I don't remember, but there was just part of me that felt like that's really sweet and I really like this, but it hitched in my mind for like a split second that the girl would remember her all those years later to name her daughter after her. But then I quieted myself because I was like, well, I want that to be what happens. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, look, my youngest son, we named him Adam.
There you go. Case closed. Case closed. And I know you tried to name one of your kids Kal-El, so.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that didn't bump me.
Yeah, but it was lovely. It was lovely seeing Jessie realize that, like, after all these years and I thought I'd been ditched and forgotten, and did that relationship even matter? It did.
Yep.
And so I don't know. I thought that was really beautiful. But I want to hear more about the ending.
Oh, well, this is just from talking to Amina. I think that, you have a point about 2/3 of the way in where, all the toys are like pissed off at Lilypad because they feel like she's set Bonnie on this path towards being a tech addict, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what we realize, or what Lilypad realizes, is that she's inadvertently caused harm to Bonnie.
Mm-hmm.
And so she sort of she sort of does like a I'm deleting myself, goodbye cruel world type thing,
Yeah, which I was surprised because I wasn't getting that sense from. She felt like such a detached character.
Yeah.
And like she didn't care about anything. She was just doing what she does. And when you realize that she cares about Bonnie too, I was really touched.
Yeah. So I think my sense from talking to her is that when that happens, I think Amina was like, yeah, die, bitch.
Sure.
And then, everyone comes around and becomes friends. I don't think she was thrilled about that. And I would assume part of this is Amina's own, obviously we're trying to navigate the presence of tech in our house, and that's challenging,
Mm-hmm.
and the sense of like, oh, but you have to accept it. You have to invite it into your house, like it has to be part of the gang. And I'm like, well, it is part of the gang. I mean, it's right. Like,
yeah,
I think the message is kind of like, we have to find a way to it should have its place,
mm-hmm.
but not overwhelm everything. And sort of, there should still be room for traditional play, I think that's a pragmatic view of just where we're at, right?
Exactly, because the way that they wind up using the tech is to connect Bonnie with the right person, the right playmate, someone who shares a silly imagination.
Yeah.
And they use the tech to track down this person, right? And to coordinate all of this. So you see that that's just reality, right? There are pros and cons to it.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I like that girl, Blaze. I thought that was really sweet. And it made me happy seeing two kids. That's the thing. So Bonnie is shown that she's still young and silly. And they kind of make it sort of like Danny in The Shining, where he talks with his finger. Like,
right.
Bonnie seems a little bit nervous. So she kind of talks through her toys. Like she's always holding up her toy and talking and waving through her toys. And that, some of these kids that are maybe have aged a little too much or too quickly and are lost in their tech and think toys are stupid.
Right.
They make fun of her.
Right.
But you see Blaze still has like a big imagination and loves the same things that Bonnie does. And so it warmed my heart seeing these two girls not worrying about what other people think and just enjoying being silly and imaginative and playing together, But again, the devices were incorporated.
Right.
And the devices helped bring that together, which maybe that's a little Pollyanna. I don't know.
I'd say it's a lot Pollyanna, but
yeah.
I don't think Disney's going to put out a product where it's like kill the technology.
I know that's true. That's true.
So this is sort of. I mean, again, I think it's pragmatic at the end of the day because that's the other thing about the Toy Story films. They we're now 30 plus years in, so they span such a wide range of playing.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Right, there is so much social and technological change that's encompassed within these 5 films, and I think to some extent they do have to sort of future-proof the films.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think gadgets are in danger of going away anytime soon.
Yeah, what I thought was kind of a sweet, clever moment was her digital camera.
Right.
Blaze's digital camera. Because it reminds me of your daughter. Like, I remember, not this last time, but the time before, she had this digital camera that's made for kids. And she was taking pictures of all these things. And in the movie, that digital camera, she goes through all the pictures. Like, oh, I remember when we looked at this and we looked at this. And then it just ends. I thought was really sweet. Like the last picture she takes on the kid version of a camera. And
yeah. And it's like, it just ends at a certain point.
Yeah. I also love when the Smarty Pants, the Conan character, they're trying to coordinate like the toy drop off or whatever. And then he's like saying, yeah, bring money. He puts all his dollar signs and like, hey, stop it. He's like, what? That was funny.
I like the bit where there's like the game that like there's like a game you play on the Smarty Pants console.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jesse is just like jumping up and down on his buttons.
Oh, right.
And he's just like, oh God, please stop.
right.
That's right. It's very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess just to sort of tie a bow around all this, it tells you something we haven't even talked about Woody. Really?
Yeah.
Right. Because he is like the special guest star in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's fine. It's like if you have a compelling Woody story, tell it. I wouldn't mind if they were doing a next one where maybe the gang comes out to where Woody is and helps him with some whatever he has going on.
Yeah, totally.
Because that too, it's like how much angst can we give the kid?
That's true. That's a very good point. Yeah, as long as the emotions are there, as long as the characters have new interesting things to do, as long as it's fun, like that's where we're at. And they are delivering these on another level. I say keep them coming.
Well, and again, Toy Story is one of the few franchises that's managing to buck the trend that we're seeing where these legacy brands just they're not playing the way they used to. Toy Story still got it.
Yeah.
Next movie.
Moving on.
All right. Well, who else is back?
Who's that, Zaki?
Why, it's Jason Momoa in a DC movie.
Playing a character that could be called Ooh Wah.
but not that one.
No, it's another one.
Yeah. He plays Lobo, and that's, of course, a featured character in Supergirl, the new DC Comics adaptation that is in theaters right now as we're recording this. It has opened to $13 million at the global box office for preview night. So that would put it on track for something like 80 million worldwide.
Okay.
Which is not
I'm sure they're going for.
Yeah, I think they would have hoped for something a little bit more. This is directed by Craig Gillespie, wearing a James Gunn skin suit.
100%.
Millie Alcock plays Kara Zor-El in what I will say is a loose adaptation of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, the graphic novel, which I enjoyed, and I didn't know that you had read it until recently, and you said you enjoyed it quite a bit. Well, I will tell you what I thought.
I can't wait.
Well, let me start with I think Millie Alcock. I enjoyed the tease that we got of her character in Superman last year, and so I was excited to see her in this. And I think that she is very good in this. I liked her a lot. I think the many angles she gets to play in terms of making her somebody different from Superman. I enjoyed that. I like that. I like that David Cornsweet is a presence in this movie. He's not a poster on the wall.
Yeah, right.
And it's fun to see him in. I enjoy seeing Superman and Supergirl on screen together. I like what Jason Momoa is doing in terms of embodying the character of Lobo. Like that's the character from the comics.
Okay.
However, I don't have any real affinity for that character, A. And B, I mean, you could pluck him right out. The Claw from Toy Story could pluck him out of this movie and it would not affect it at all.
I literally said that to the guy I saw the movie with last night.
Yeah, it's like, as far as I know, they haven't announced a Lobo, streaming show or movie or whatever.
Yeah,
but it feels like this is just a trailer for that.
Yep. Yeah. If anything, he's a distraction, really.
Yeah, it was odd to me because I mean, we'll get into it more, but I mean, he has no bearing on anything,
Yeah.
I really like the first half of the movie. I like, it's sticking fairly close to the comic. Initially, which I liked, and
the
then
setup,
the setup, and then I loved all the stuff about Krypton and showing Krypton's destruction, which we haven't seen in this universe, and Argo City, and David Krumholtz as her dad. I thought he was great. Although, well, I guess we'll talk about this in spoilers, but all of that was good. By about the halfway point, I was like, this is what I wrote in my review. It was looking like Temu Guardians of the Galaxy.
Totally.
Right. And I found the ending just interminable. It was like, God, it's just CGI, smashy. I don't really care about any of this. And then it culminates in the way they wrapped it up didn't really work for me, as far as the specific storyline involving the space pirates. See, I'm trying to step around spoilers because I know we're going to talk about them. I like how, like, where the character. I like the final scene, which has Kara and Clark together. I liked that scene a lot. But at the end of it, like I don't regret having watched it, but it felt like it was just it was doing what like MCU Phase 2 movies used to do. Where it's just like we're just sort of treading a little water until the next thing.
Yeah,
because I'm guessing she's in Man of Tomorrow next summer.
Right.
So I think there was a little bit of like, we just got to establish her character so that whatever we have planned in that one will work. So ultimately, Millie Alcock, I love her. I think it's worth watching for her because I think she's really good. I think the movie is mostly forgettable though.
Yeah. I was pretty underwhelmed. Yeah. I agree. I like what Millie Alcock brings. I really like the source material, and I like the energy. It
didn't evoke the source material, which I found super frustrating.
Very disappointing.
Totally.
I had to literally like verbalize in my mind, like, Brian, it isn't the thing. It isn't the thing you like.
Yeah.
So don't stop comparing it, because you need to like focus on this and what it is and versus what it isn't.
But you know what's so odd about that is that this isn't like to me, it's like, like Marvel does like Captain America Civil War. And you're like, well, okay, there's a comic storyline called Civil War, but this is just totally different. And so you're able to say, well, that's just its own thing. But I'm like, this is close enough to that story.
Oh yeah.
Right. That you're like, no, it's just a bad adaptation.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, this just, for me, it felt like a messy, middle of the road superhero movie.
Yeah.
It's funny. I actually wrote down, sometimes when I walk out, I say things so I won't forget them. But I wrote down karaoke James Gunn.
Right.
And my first thought actually when I got in my car was Thor 2.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, like I said, Marvel Phase 2, right?
Yep. And it's such a bummer because this story, like when you're talking about this being, more of an adaptation than an inspiration, this story is so poignant and powerful in the graphic novel. It's like a True Grit riff.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
But here it just feels really just kind of stock and underserved.
Well, it's like the visuals were so muddy and
gosh,
right. Like that's my thing. Like the graphic novel has this beautiful art and this really vibrant color scheme, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, you could have evoked that color scheme and given it this really interesting look.
Dude, I joked with Chad when we were walking out. I was like, I bet the screenplay said exterior, indiscriminate green location, exterior, indiscriminate blue location.
Yeah,
It has that thing that all these movies are falling prey to now where it's literally a flat landscape that seems to go on forever with nothing distinguishing behind it anywhere. It's just these big, flat, open landscapes, which could be a symptom of that thing we've talked about where they don't know what something's going to be, so they film them in some room with flat lighting and just fill in the backgrounds later, and there's no specificity to it,
right?
Versus there are moments, to be fair, when she's in bars and things like that look otherworldly and fun and imaginative and interesting, but just so many of the fight sequences, they're just in blah land,
Yeah. Well, and I mean, really specifically for me, the third act. It's just, I mean, it's just like we've seen this so many times. The other thing is the villain Krem.
Mm-hmm.
The way the character was translated to the screen was really a fail to me.
Yeah.
Matthias Schoenaerts, that's the actor's name, and the character in the movie looks absolutely nothing like the one from the comic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, the way he looked in the comic, he had a very distinctive look,
and
he had a distinct characterization.
Yep,
and they didn't do any of that,
Yeah, he doesn't make a mark, unfortunately.
No. And that's weird because Superman last year. I think partially the reason it worked so well for me is that the back and forth between Superman and Lex made for a really interesting, dichotomy that works.
Mm-hmm.
And here it's Krem is Ruthie's villain more than Supergirl's.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like a device, but he is leading a trail of awfulness as they pursue him in the graphic novel, and it allows you to understand how complex a character Supergirl is,
right?
Because she shows up to these places where he's left his trail of destruction, and you can see her world weariness is always on display, but her kindness always comes through. Like there were so many moments that I loved in the graphic novel that I wish they had kept here, which is, she drinks to forget, and she can be a little cold or possibly unapproachable at times, but she's always kind. And there's a moment in the graphic novel where Ruthie has never washed her hands before. And so Supergirl, without any judgment or anything, shows her how to wash her hands.
Right.
I was like, wow, that was that's something I remember from that story. And we didn't get any of that kind of connection, I felt, between the two of them. And then there's a moment where Krem is leaving this trail of destruction. I mean, genocides, like killing mass swaths of people. And then Supergirl shows up at these planets where it's too late. And she sees, this person burying graves, and it's just an overwhelming task. So she uses her powers to do it quickly, to relieve these people who are mourning of that task.
Right.
But then she's overwhelmed, and she has to wail because that much death overwhelms her. Like, I don't feel like any moment in this movie approached that level of depth or complexity. And it was right there. It was right there.
I mean, as you're talking, it's like this really should have been a streaming series.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the novel plays that way. It's like vignettes for sure.
Very episodic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we want to talk spoilers?
Yeah. I'll just say one more thing just because it's related to that. But yeah, the character of Ruthie.
Yeah.
She is so specific and interesting
Right.
in the original source material. And she has a real personality and grit, pun intended. You know, she is like that determined little girl from True Grit.
Right.
And I just felt like she seemed like a stock tag-along kid in this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that like too many of the beats are too predictable.
Yeah.
Right. So it's doing the reluctant hero trope.
Yeah.
And so, it's like we kind of know where it's headed,
Yeah, it's just everything about it just so stock. And it also felt kind of edited within an inch of its life, as if it didn't trust us to take a breath to allow. Yeah.
It's as you're talking, I'm reminded of James Gunn saying something to the effect of like, we're not going to greenlight something until we have a script that we know is just rock solid.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, this one clearly needed a little work.
Yeah.
Right. So it makes you question a little bit,
Yeah. And I mean, it also at this point, we've had dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of superhero movies. And like you were saying at the end, where you just kind of like threw your hands up in the air with the action sequences. Like I didn't feel any tension. I didn't feel any goals, attempted. Like it was just, I've seen some criticism saying that the fight scenes are badly edited.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I didn't really feel that so much as they were uninspired.
Right. That's what it comes down to for me.
Right. Like it reminded me of, royalty-free music. You know what I mean? Where you get these like sort of like, oh, this sounds kind of like a sweeping superhero song and you can use it for free and it's just kind of generic sounding.
Right.
This is like royalty-free fight scenes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just, and that's when you're trying to get us excited about this character, we need to see something really specific and distinctive and new and interesting and unique to her. And this just felt like when the fight scenes would begin, I literally was like, okay, like you say, smashy for, the next 6 minutes. And I'm disappointed, I'm not saying like, oh, I expected this. I'm like, no, I had high hopes for this. And so I felt let down, unfortunately.
I found it like I didn't hate it. I was just like, all right, like I don't, I don't mind seeing this version of the character, but I think your Thor 2 comparison I think is very apt because that's sort of I think ultimately I like Thor 2 better than this, but it's like, all right, well, it's this one and then see what they do in the next one,
Yeah, which is, I mean, for your second movie out of the gate of your
that's the problem.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
DC universe.
Yeah. That's concerning.
Yeah. Well, anyway, okay, let's do spoilers.
Okay.
Spoilers.
So, I was talking about the way the movie ends, right? If we look at Kara's arc as being where we saw her at the end of Superman, and then where she is at the end of Supergirl, right? She's gone on an emotional journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's basically like, I'm ready to call Earth my home or whatever, right? Something to that effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
My question is why?
Mm-hmm.
Like what in this story did she experience that led her to that conclusion?
I don't know.
Right?
And that scene felt either like a mid-credit scene that they bumped up or a reshoot where they needed to set up where she is going to be in Man of Tomorrow.
That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, again, I liked seeing them together. We got two scenes where they're occupying the same space. I enjoyed both of those. I think David Corn Sweat, he's just very easy as Superman. It's just, he just slots right in.
Mm-hmm.
However, I was talking about the Krypton sequences. Again, the way they showed the destruction of the planet, very different than we've seen before,
Mm-hmm.
The way we see Argo, in the force field and everything. And it's very funny to me because when when Argo, so the people who survived on Argo are succumbing to kryptonite poisoning.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Zor-El, her father, has to send her to Earth where Kal-El is. And he says to her, use your powers to protect people, to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay. So Jor-El's just an asshole then.
I had the same thought. I was like, oh, so the brothers are very different.
Right. And it's funny because earlier in the film, we see when Krypton's exploding, they see Kal-El's pod leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's Kal-El's pod. Yeah, Jor-El wants him to be a conqueror. Like, it's
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, I think it'd be funny if the L family is sort of like, man, what's up with Jor-El's YouTube algorithm? Shit.
Yes, right.
God damn.
He's fallen down the conqueror sphere.
Yeah. He's been green pilled or whatever.
That's good. Yeah.
I just thought that was very funny because her mom is like, help people be good. And Jor-El's like, make them your slaves,
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, cool.
That is hilarious. Yeah. And I loved all that stuff. And Krumholtz, I wondered what it would be like being on set, having to have these really heavy emotional conversations in a made up language where you're like, shada, squira, blah, blah, blah,
yep.
But you're like crying. Like, I wonder if that's difficult.
I remember asking Emilia Clarke about that based on a question you asked.
Oh,
because this is like 10 years ago almost.
Okay.
Right? She was in that movie Me Before You, and because you watched Game of Thrones, I didn't. I was like, hey, I'm talking to her if you have any questions. And you said, what is it like? How do you find the truth in speaking Dothraki?
Wow, clearly this is on my mind.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And she talked about how it's like they know what is being said.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so it's like you memorize the words, and that's just sort of whatever that is, but you're playing it with the intentionality behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And so certainly Krumholtz and company were able to do that very well. I thought it was an interesting choice to have him speak Kryptonian only.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
Which I guess that allows for when she first meets Clark,
mm-hmm.
and they have that, where she doesn't understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
Apparently he was just improvising all that stuff. Like,
oh really?
Bowling is great.
Oh, jeez. I really like him.
That's what I'm saying, man. He's just like plugged right into the character. I think he does it very easily.
Yeah. I have to say, some of my favorite moments, maybe my favorite moments in this movie were Kara's origins.
Yeah.
I enjoyed seeing them on
all the Krypton stuff,
all the what life is like then on this floating shard of Krypton,
mm-hmm.
and the drama and tragedy that comes out of that, and then her being put in that pod. Like, it's so funny because she was in this like silver bodysuit, which looks partially silly, but also like, I don't know, it like made me really, my heart, like compassion for her or something. It felt scary or something. Like she's being
thrown together kind of.
Yeah. Like she's being shot out into the unknown,
mm-hmm.
and just hoping that things go all right. And then when she lands and she meets Clark and she's disoriented, doesn't understand what he's saying, and he's trying to be kind to her. And then later we see her in Metropolis and she's experiencing her powers and hearing all these noises. And so she puts on headphones to try to kind of drown them out. Part of me, I was like, look, I know people might disagree, but I was like, maybe give us that movie.
I agree.
Yeah. I don't know. Or at least for her first outing.
Or at least give us more of that as you're cutting back and forth, right? But like, because to me, I dig all the stuff about her being tormented and how she goes to planets under red sun so she can just tie on a bender and just forget all the angst that she feels. I think that's an interesting place for a character to be, in terms of a journey to go on, but also just to make her different from Superman. Right?
Totally agree.
Right, this is, and I noted this in my review. I'm like, the problem they've always had, this was at the Helen Slater film, and then the CW television show is she's just, a variation on a theme.
Mm-hmm.
She's just Superman in a skirt,
Right.
And I'm like, well, do something different, you know? And I thought Woman of Tomorrow did that. And so I see why the impetus was there to adapt that. So I'm like, well, if you're adapting it, then adapt it.
I agree. Obviously.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like Craig Gillespie, I didn't feel any real authorship. You know, it felt like he was sort of, I mean, and I hate to say this, right? It felt like when the MCU would hire sort of, you know, mid-tier directors to just kind of do something that looks like the other stuff.
Completely agree. I mean, he made Lars and the Real Girl, I, Tonya. He's made good character-driven movies before.
Yeah.
And so I agree. I felt that, and I wondered why that was. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of a shame.
Yeah, and there's a real James Gunniness to it, like kind of these grotesque aliens, and you know, aliens that poop, and then that's candy for people, and you know, it's just like, all right, well, at least he's still getting to do his thing, I guess.
I don't mind any of this stuff as just like texture and it's expanding the world, the universe, right?
Yeah,
that's all fine. But I'm like, I'm somebody who. I want the emotional journey I go on to feel meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
And when the movie ended, ultimately, my feeling was, well, I liked Millie Alcock as Supergirl.
Yeah, like I'm ready for more. I wish her origin had been the first movie because we don't know it. We know Superman's ad nauseum, but we don't really know hers. And then maybe make this her second outing.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I mean, I could imagine a version where I know this probably isn't going to fall into their plans, but she comes to Earth. We know who she is. We learn how difficult that is for her. And then, you know, with Clark Kent, typically he'll put on his glasses and be like, well, I can make a home here. I'll adapt and I'm going to save these people because I care about them. But it'd be an interesting twist in her movie to be like, I don't know if I can. Yeah. Like, I got to go. And maybe Clark a little disappointed, but she's still got things she needs to work out. And then you get this movie. You know, starting with her, then getting drunk on these other planets, but unable to escape her inherent kindness.
Yeah.
You know, that she is forced to put the drunkenness away and bring to the forefront to help this poor girl and to keep this girl from becoming, you know, have a hardened heart, which was what's so potent and emotional about the original story. You know, that, I mean, the ending, we should talk about the ending. The ending is so different than the graphic novel, which I understand that the graphic novel isn't as cinematic as you probably need, but I did love it.
I agree. Yeah.
So, I mean, in that, what happens is they capture Krem and they put him in the Phantom Zone for like several hundred years. Right. And so while he's in there, he lives for so long that he eventually becomes a repentant person.
Right.
And so it really is about like, you know, not choosing vengeance. And they finally, Supergirl meets up with Ruthie, who's now an old woman, and they let him out.
Yeah.
And he repents. And he says, I'm sorry, and, you know, forgive me. And then basically Ruthie takes, like, she's an old woman, she has a cane, and she bops him on the head and then walks away. And I loved it. I get you could do that in a movie.
I was like, well, we're not going to get that ending.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, I don't think that's going to happen. I would have loved it, but I was like, well, what are they going to do? And my initial thought, it's like so generic, dude. Like, you know, I have the chance to, I'm not going to kill you though. You know, you do that thing.
Oh,
and I'm like, well, movie math says that the guy still has to die.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, well, that's why you have Lobo.
Oh, interesting. Yes.
So that was my thought. I was like, oh, he's going to come after them. And like from a distance, Lobo will shoot him or something.
Mm-hmm.
He'll like shoot him. And then we cut to him and he's like, all right, takes a puff of his stogie and he just drives off on his bike.
Yeah.
Right.
As like a thanks for letting me out of prison.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and instead, you know, Ruthie doesn't kill him. And then she walks away and then Supergirl kills him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what the, you know,
which didn't feel, look, there's that really, by the way, okay, this leads me to another thing I wanted to ask you about. This movie is about sex trafficking.
Yes.
Which is kind of intense, I think, for a movie that you'd like to possibly bring your little daughter to. Now, the original story is also about awfulness and mass murders and things like that, but it gets really like kind of unpleasant, I thought. You get these child brides, and it's explained what their purpose is going to be, being like baby farms, for these people.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get a moment in the middle of the movie where this poor girl who's been stolen for sex trafficking, she reunites with her parents, then her parents are murdered in front of her, and then she's murdered.
Yep.
And I was like, good Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, look, again, superhero movies are now all over the place. You can have R-rated superhero movies. You have superhero movies for adults. You have the last Superman movie maybe skewed a little younger. Everyone can enjoy it. I can appreciate wanting to tackle dark themes in these things occasionally. And I can also appreciate that maybe that could be the thing that would make Supergirl like he's got to die in this moment. But I don't feel like because she sees that, and that I think that's what leads her to go up into space and to scream, right? Into the void.
Yeah, that's right.
But I didn't connect that with her decision at the end to kill him.
No.
And also, I was interested if you'd agree. And also, I am curious how that feels like as someone who has a younger daughter taking her to this movie. Does this feel a little intense?
I don't think she clocked the heavier stuff.
Okay.
Because I think tonally this is very MCU coded. I think that stuff is there for her to pick up on later. I don't think she really she plugged into that on a deeper level. And for what it's worth, she liked it.
Yeah, great.
And that made me happy because I want her to like a Supergirl movie,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad we're going to see this Supergirl again. Like, that's the paradox here, right? Because I'm like, well, I do want to see her again. I like her,
mm-hmm.
And she'll be in the Superman sequel. That's fine. My only thought is, as an indication of the DCU not directed by James Gunn, I have concerns.
Right. Because
what's the point of bringing these people on if you're just going to have them do kind of a riff on the Gunn style?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a mistake. And say what you will about the prior DC movies, but no one was going to confuse Aquaman as being directed by Zack Snyder.
Yeah, sure.
Right. It had a very distinctive style.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's disappointing. I didn't hate it, but I was disappointed in it.
Yeah. I don't know. Just, I can imagine seeing it again someday, like a TNT sort of Saturday afternoon thing, and kind of watching it and it scratching an itch in a way.
Yeah.
And if people out there loved it, I'm really happy about that. And I can get it, because there are things that maybe if I could put them out of my mind and just, turn it off, just watch it and enjoy it for what it is viscerally, I can get that. But it just, I don't know. It just felt so middle of the road. I was surprised by it. And it felt like middle of the road stuff we've seen before with new paint on it. And that just left me disappointed.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Let us know your thoughts. Everybody listening, you can email us. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Either way is fine, but let us know at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast, and message us there. If you're listening to the show on YouTube, first of all, please hit like, hit subscribe, and leave a comment, because we do read those on the show. Brian, we also have a Patreon page.
That's right. If you head over to patreon.com/moviefilmpodcast and hit subscribe for only $5 a month, you'll find every commentary we've ever done and every episode moving forward absolutely ad-free. And in addition to that, you'll find bonus episodes we drop about twice a month, discussions about trailers or movie news that just wouldn't fit into a regular episode. Our free feed will always be available, but this is our way of providing what we believe is the most satisfying way to enjoy the show. So no ads or interruptions butting into the middle of the conversation mid-sentence, which is frustrating. Plus, your subscription goes a long way in helping to support us and helping to sustain producing the show. So if you're interested and able, please head over to patreon.com/moviefilmpodcast and subscribe. We'd be very grateful.
And if you're looking for me online, you can find me on social media at Zacky's Corner. That's ZAKIS Corner. You can also find my reviews at the San Francisco Chronicle, including my review of Supergirl. So if you want to hear even more of my thoughts, please do check that out. What about you, Brian?
You can find episodes I've written of Puppy Dog Pals and Young Jedi Adventures streaming on Disney+.
And with that, on behalf of my partner, Brian Hall, this has been Movie Film 346. My name is Zaki Hassan. We will catch you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Welcome back.